today, every single person in the team is very driven with a business goal. So our goal is that whatever run rate we are at today, we want to ensure that 3 years from now, we are growing at least 10x. And that's a figure that we have in mind, but 2025 was that goal earlier, that we wanted to be a 25 crore brand by 2025. It's not happened, but we are pushing that deadline forward by 2 more years and saying that by 2027, we should actually be doing a run rate of 25 CR.
And what are you doing to meet that?
So various things. I mean, the first thing that they're doing is what you guys do, getting into the pricing of things really deeply.
Frames. Why frames? Why will somebody take frames? I mean, there has to be some science behind the decision that you're taking when it comes to expanding.
Yeah.
On what basis are you deciding this?
So I think, let me start with, I won't call it the non-scientific part, but the brand side of things. That the fundamental rule that we're employing when we launch any new product or category is that, does it spark a conversation? Now, how do we do that? The simple rule that we follow is take everyday objects and reinvent them in a manner that has an aha moment. So when initially we did it, we took dinner plates and had them full of art. That was that moment at that point.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Road Ahead Talk Show. I'm Vijayta Soni, the co-founder and CEO of Sciative Solutions. And thank you so much for staying along with us for last 4 months, making sure that you're watching each and every episode that we have been sending you. Today with me, I have a very interesting entrepreneur. He is an entrepreneur with a drive, with a cause, and he wants to make purchase into a movement. I have Mr. Chitresh with me from the Plated Project. Hi, Chitresh.
Hey, Vijayta. Thank you for having me here.
Pleasure to have you here, and it has been lovely to be talking to you for so long.
Same here.
Before the recording. So, Chitresh, your story is very inspirational. You are there with a cause.
Yeah.
First of all, for everybody who's viewing this, if you can help us understand, what is the Plated Project?
So, the Plated Project is a movement to use art against hunger. And purposely, I say a movement and not home decor or selling product, because that's how it started. So the whole idea is that we are trying to create functional works of art, turning everyday objects into works of art that you can use in your home, have them along with you. But every piece tells a story. Now that story will be something that you will emotionally resonate with, but it will also raise awareness about hunger as an issue. So the whole attempt was, how do we get people to emotionally associate with a cause like hunger, which otherwise is very depressing, which is something that most of us would not want to talk about at dinner table conversations, right? So how do you do that?
Usually entrepreneurs are very fearful of starting something with a cause, right? When you build bigger, then you start aligning to a cause. You start doing your CSR activities. But you took a reverse route. What was the inspiration? What made you do that?
Worked in our favor because none of this was by design. I didn't wake up one fine day or say that, kuch todu karna hai ya kuch startup banana hai. I had a very nice job. I was very happy in my job. And the desire was that, let me fundamentally do something different within the job that I was doing. So the pressures of, is this scalable? How big is the market, opportunity, gaps, none of that mattered. I mean, I come in from the business background. I was doing brand consulting. So obviously that was factored in before we started the Plated project. But the desire was that, can we actually put out a use case or a proof of concept for the world where innovation, brand building, and impact actually coexist, and they became the foundation of what can happen. So I think it was a blessing that we were not focused on what will turn this into a sustainable business, which led to all of this. But it's been there from day one. And today we've now realized, and we've shown the world also, that impact can actually become a driver for business. So we are very clear that we want to keep it going. But long story short, it wasn't by design that this happened.
But it's very beautiful because you're connecting art, and then you have something as simple as a plate, right? You're adding art to it.
Yeah.
And then you're also adding the hunger side to it, because
Correct.
of course I'm buying a plate. I need to. People don't think about how many people in Mumbai are, are homeless.
Correct.
You thought about it, and your plate as an art is speaking that story.
Sure.
How do you connect with your audience? This is very inspirational. But how are you connecting with your audience? How are you connecting with the customers? How do you tell the story to them? How do they discover you then?
Okay. So I think what we're doing fundamentally is following all the rules of the category that we are in.
Okay.
So most of our acquisition is happening through performance marketing. We are using our social media presence as another core driver for user acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the big difference comes in the way we are doing it is everything is storytelling led. So we are not following the rules, which is identify a pain point. And you would have seen those UGC ads today. कि क्या आपने कभी ये किया है, and then it'll come into a solution. We don't do any of that. So we are following a different way of marketing and telling our story, but at the same time being cognizant of what the funnel looks like, how will you acquire users. And I think where this stems from is what you rightly said, right? That me included, nobody actually wakes up every day saying that, oh, let me figure out what a social issue is that I want to connect with. Or even if it is people dying, right? You'll read it in the newspaper and you'll get a call from office and you'll immediately move into work mode. You didn't shed a tear. I mean, you felt bad.
Yes.
So I think the fundamental insight that I had when the Plated project started was that you have buckets of people. You've got one bucket, which is a very, very small population, which is already the woke audience. They know the impact they can make with small actions, and they're already doing it. That audience is already doing what they want to do. They're going out and seeking ways of making impact. There's nothing that we can do to change them, right? Then you've got an audience which is sitting on the fence, which I believe, this is not scientific data, but I believe almost 80% of the people today in India want to do something good. I think all of us in our heart feel that if I've reached a certain level, let me make a positive difference. So we will do it with small actions, saying, let me educate my maid's daughter. Let me donate my clothes rather than throwing them, etc., etc. But this audience is the one that needs that nudge to go off the fence and genuinely invest in a cause. Now, how do you do this? The only way I believe that it can work with behavior change, I mean, the industry you're also in, behavior change can't happen with logic. The logic will give you all of those inputs you need, but for behavior change, you need a strong dose of emotion.
True.
You need a strong understanding of human psyche and how decisions get made.
And is that the art
exactly
taking care of? Okay.
So where the art comes in is we are not going out there and telling anybody that to make a difference, go out there and do X, Y, Z. That's something that you will evolve into. What we're saying is, what do you want today in life? So one of the things that everybody wants in life is to show the world that they have great taste, to have their homes look pretty and nice. And we're saying, okay, you want to do that? Let me help you do that. But let's go one step further. Instead of buying something pretty and putting it up in your house where it actually serves the purpose of just sitting there looking pretty, can you buy something that really emotionally connects with you? That it has a story to tell. That if you keep looking at it 10 times a day, there's some emotional connection you have with that object. Now, that is what is our first point of entry or acquisition with the customer. So, if you look at our art, none of it is abstract. None of it needs a manual. You first read the manual, then look at that artwork, and then you'll understand what it means. Because then there's no emotional connection. It will be kids breaking things from a tree, fruit. It'll be, somebody like you or your husband, both of you are together on a holiday. It will be the innocence of a child with their mom.
Is this customized? So are the artists making these as custom designs?
Yes, at times, yes.
Okay.
Most of the artwork that we have on our platform comes in two ways. Either we will go and curate artwork under a theme, or we will commission artwork to an artist and give them a brief saying, this is our theme. We want you to build something under that. Or it's corporate orders where they come in and they tell us that I want my brand story to come alive, and then it gets customized. But everything is picked with a very clear lens of, can we make it relatable to every single person and not just a minority of people who are, oh, this artwork with a black cloud means
Picasso's,
this. And all due respect, that's not what we do. So the reason why we're doing that is because if we can get you to emotionally connect with something, two things happen. One, you will genuinely care. Two, because you bought an object with so much thought, you want to tell that story to everybody else who comes to your house. So somebody came for Diwali, they saw something on your house is so pretty and this painting looks beautiful, or this dinner plate looks great. You will immediately tell them, oh yeah, let me tell you about what it actually stands for. And you're not bragging. It's something that genuinely is that excitement that comes in, right? So that's what we're doing. That connect people to the cause in an indirect manner where they emotionally resonate with something first, and then they become aware about how hunger is such a major issue that is linked to what they connected with. And then we tell them that you don't have to do anything.
So Chitresh, is this your Goa roots which is coming into play, where you're talking about the arts, the artist, and how you're bringing that artist out and taking them to the Indian homes?
Honestly,
is it you?
Don't know, but I think it would be some of that, because I grew up in a North Indian family based in Goa. So there was always multiple things happening. But yeah, I think I was exposed to the arts a lot more. I was never an artist. I never understood art. I don't think I understand it even today. But I did understand storytelling from my childhood till now through various ways, whether it is music, whether it is shows like the X-Files that we used to watch and how it was layered. But I think somewhere the deep-rooted desire was that storytelling to me was always a wow experience. How do you translate that into products? And I think I was working with a brand consulting firm when the Plated project was born. So there were designers at any point of time creating logos and brand language and design language and all kinds of designs, right? I think subconsciously all of it connected and this happened.
So how is your company collaborating with the artists?
Okay.
So is this happening on a freelance basis, or are they on roles, or you just talk about the creativity and the artists come to you? How does that happen?
That's simple. But three ways, three or four ways. The first way is Instagram. We are constantly looking for artists creating new work that we emotionally resonate with. And I think the algorithm now will obviously start feeding you with what you're seeking, right? So we curate artists, reach out to them and get them on the platform. Usually this is a royalty model. So we'll tell the artist that I will pay you on every sale. That actually works better because I know for a fact that there are artists on our platform today who are making 10 times what their commission fee is for a single artwork year after year.
Wonderful.
So that works. Wonderful. The other is, like I said, commissions. So we will find an artist whose style is unique, but we may not spot something that we want. So we'll tell them that in your own style, here is an open brief of the story that we want to narrate. You create it. And the third is, now we've started working with artists in residence. So you have artists who will come and work with us over a 6-month period. They will keep creating works, which then get launched. But none of it will ever get white labeled. What it means is, there are a lot of platforms where there are great artists creating work, but you will never see their name. Even if it's a commission piece where we paid you upfront, we will ensure that your name always is visible as the creator of that artwork.
That's wonderful. That's very meaningful, and that actually adds to the story as well.
Yeah, a lot of time, most people will come in and tell us that, oh, I love Soumya Raj's work, and we're like, how do you even know the artist's name? They're like, oh, because it caught my eye, And then the way your page is designed, you told me a whole story.
Wonderful.
And if you're a buyer, then what we also do is we don't hide anything. You will actually get the Instagram handle of their artist upfront. If you want to reach out to them, work with them, follow their work, please do. We're more than happy.
Now let's talk about as an entrepreneur, as a company. What is the future that you see with the Plated project?
So in business terms, as an okay. So I think that awakening has happened over time. When it started as a pure passion project, no business goal. But today, we now realize that if we want to make impact happen, the only way of making that happen is if the business is profitable. Because the whole ethos of what we've done is business and impact going together, right?
That's true.
So till the first 2 years, we were only talking about what can we design, what kind of products do we want to make, what kind of artwork do we want to launch. Business actually was just happening on its own. But today, every single person in the team is very driven with a business goal. So our goal is that whatever run rate we are at today, we want to ensure that 3 years from now, we are growing at least 10x. And that's a figure that we have in mind, but 2025 was that goal earlier, that we wanted to be a 25 crore brand by 2025. It's not happened. But we are pushing that deadline forward by 2 more years and saying that by 2027, we should actually be doing a run rate of 25 CR.
And what are you doing to meet that?
So various things. I mean, the first thing that we're doing is what you guys do, getting into the pricing of things really deeply. So what should my COGS be? What should a break-even price point be? That is related to the second thing that we're doing is expanding channels. So till the time we were only selling from our website, a lot of these variables were in our control.
Right.
And we had healthy margins. We didn't have to worry about, third-party listing fees and commissions. But now we are expanding channels. So we are going on to Amazon. We are already there. We're going on to various third parties where there's scale. But with that comes in a deeper focus on how do we get the numbers right so that there are enough margins. And the third thing that we're doing is expanding categories.
Your assortments.
So we're trying to go, vertically into things. So if I had mugs, I'm also going into dinner plates, bowls, etc. But we're also expanding horizontally, which means that till now, you would think about Plated project as decorative plates. But today, we've got embroidered frames on our website, which is again wall decor. We are getting into entire wall decor, which is you'll have decals that you put up in your room. And on top of the decal, you will have a shelf that gets fitted. So that itself becomes a work of art. So there are category expansions underway. Channel expansions has already happened. And then numbers, of course.
And when you're expanding in terms of the horizontal expansion, when you're adding in new categories like the frames, and what is the science that is backed? What is like backing these decisions? That okay, let me try out the bottles part, because bottles is a big thing for you now. Frames. Why frames? Why will somebody take frames? I mean, there has to be some science behind the decision that you're taking when it comes to expanding. On what basis are you deciding this?
So I think, let me start with, I won't call it the non-scientific part, but the brand side of things. That the fundamental rule that we're employing when we launch any new product or category is that, does it spark a conversation? Now, how do we do that? The simple rule that we follow is take everyday objects and reinvent them in a manner that has an aha moment. So when initially we did it, we took dinner plates and had them full of art. That was that moment at that point. Very small reinvention, but it happened. Then now when we are launching photographs which are hand embroidered. So traditionally,
photographs. Photo frames.
Yeah, I mean photographs. So you have a photo, right? You'll print a photo, like a normal photo. Now I take that paper and we are hand embroidering it with artisans at scale. So it's that little aha moment, but you look at that photo and say, oh, this is very unusual. I never thought a photo can get embroidered. Or when we are launching, we're going to get into the kids' room decor. Within a kids' room decor, traditionally, you would have kids' room have fairies, or you'll have wallpaper or static things.
Very
right?
generic, yeah.
Why do any of us do it? Like when I was doing my kids' room, the whole idea was, can I spark the child's imagination? That so much as possible, right? But that's not going to happen with the carpenter coming, doing everything, and the child then being shown so pretty, pink room. Then they will always expect that. So what we're doing is kits which come. So puzzles, for example, we launched a puzzle for kids. So that puzzle comes with a storybook. So you will first read the story to the child, get them excited about the world of that, and then they will be shown the puzzle, and you will tell them that here are the Easter eggs that we are going to find in this puzzle together. Small things, but everything first starts off with the simple grid of what object are you taking, what is the reinvention. So there's a formula, and then the object comes alive. Now, before we even reach this long list of objects, that's where the science comes in. So we are looking at what categories are working, where is the highest growth, search volumes. The third thing is within Amazon, for example, even though all of our sales may not happen on Amazon, where is the biggest spurt happening? Where are most brands launching products? And the last bit of science is just trend mapping. So from a brand consulting background, there are overarching trends that will affect every category. These evolve. Like one simple thing is what the whole truth today is doing, right? There was a point where it was about eat healthier. So yoga bars, etc. came in. Today, all of us have reached a point where we want to know exactly what we are putting in our body. All chemical is not bad today. Makeup, accessories, minimalist, brands like that. I'm telling you what chemical. But there is a trend now that I want to know exactly what I'm putting in, right? So now we're looking at trends like this and figuring out that in the niche that we operate in, how will that affect us? So that's why puzzles happen. Everybody told us puzzles is a bad idea. So search volume, very low in India for puzzles. If you look at Amazon, if you look at channels, very few puzzles selling for adults.
When did you start this?
The puzzle category? We launched puzzles last December. But then we had a huge period where we were figuring out vendors and product optimization and costing. So we've actually really restarted it now after a 6-month break. But everybody told us it doesn't make sense. But the trend we were noticing is most people as couples were looking for something different to do at home where they wanted to bond better with each other. The second trend we noticed is mental health. Everybody's talking about it. So puzzles were launched as a category with 3 clear offerings. Offering number 1, the large circular puzzle, which is designed for you to spend time with yourself over a weekend. No phone.
As an adult.
As an adult.
Okay.
This weekend, cut off from the world, including everybody around you, just spend time with yourself. So that you at least ask yourself, am I feeling okay or not? It's designed like that, marketed like that, everything around the experience is that.
Okay.
The second product was a 2-hour puzzle designed to be done with somebody close in your life. So for 2 hours, don't go watch a movie, have a glass of wine, whatever you want, but sit down with each other, do a puzzle together so that you at least talk to each other about meaningful things. So it's again about mental health at a level where, hey, are you okay? I want to know what's happening. And the third puzzle is very cute. It's a small postcard puzzle, 8 pieces only. But the whole idea is it's a real postcard. So you can actually write a message on the back, break it apart, gift it to somebody. It comes with a 2-sided frame. You'll put it together and you'll keep it on your desk as again a reminder that whatever you're feeling in life, just know that you have a friend to talk to.
Very interesting.
3 variables, all of this, and then we said this will work because of the trends. Even if the numbers don't match up on search volume.
But is that working for you now?
That's what so far it has. I mean, we're very small, very few categories, but in all of the categories that we've got into, it's worked for us. So we're still trying to perfect this into a process rather than it being, yes, the data is there, the formulas are there, but it still finally comes down to gut feel. That the numbers are showing me this, but I feel we should do this. But it needs to evolve into a science. So this next year, the attempt is that really make it process driven.
That's wonderful. And what kind of customer loyalty do you see with your brand? So
I
if
think,
I make a purchase, how often will I come back and purchase your products? And because you're expanding in your categories as well.
So I think loyalty wise, what we do so far, because we're small, right? We call up every customer, or there'll be a very clear feedback mechanism. Everybody who's purchased from us, let me not say everybody, but a major chunk, at least 90% plus, have actually loved the product.
Yeah.
So nobody's on the fence. You either had a horrible experience with us because we delayed the order, a courier guy didn't call you, etc. Various reasons at a product level we may not have liked it, and you will be unhappy, and we'll make up for it. But the major chunk then will be on the extreme other side where we love your product. Why? Because invariably it comes down to this, that I bought it because it looked so pretty, or it had a great story that I saw and I related to it. But when it came to me, there was so much more to it. And that really blew me away. And now I'm a big follower of your brand and I do it. So that's worked for us. What the other variable, which is repeat purchases, right?
Yes.
Huge factor. We've got a healthy repeat rate for our category. But the thing that is missing is you cannot keep buying plates from us. Like my wife won't allow me in my own house to have more than one wall of plates, right? Yeah. So the need is that can we have more product categories where you feel that I love art, I love the fact that this product can tell a story, but let me now bring it into other aspects of my life. I think that is a slow journey for us.
But now we have many things which are beyond plates as well. Because as you're expanding, like with the puzzles, with the bottles. So if I am a customer of plated project, I will automatically have that trust that, this plate worked out beautifully well for me. It told a story.
Yeah.
It also has a cause assigned to it. Let me start buying out other stuff as well because I trust this brand.
So that's
it automatically starts happening.
So that's
wonderful.
And so far it's working, but we still have a long way to go where we feel that today we are at a repeat rate of about 30%.
That's nice.
Which, yes, I'm told is nice, but the focus that we have and the amount of energy that is invested, our goal is that at least bump it up in the near term to a 40% and then ensure that it stays there.
And 90% of the sales are happening through your own website.
90% of the sales are through our own website.
That's phenomenal. That's really wonderful. With all of that interesting things going on, what are the challenges that you're facing?
Multiple challenges. But I think the biggest challenge is scaling up the business in a manner where you're doing it on all fronts with equal focus. So what that means is pillar number one for our brand is obviously the product, right? So there's product design, there's art, there's finding materials that can work and various things happening here, which is where all of us intrinsically are drawn to because it's so creative to do. But the other big pillar for us is the impact. So we have built in the charity amount into our COGS. Every theme that we have raises awareness about a different social issue linked to hunger. How do you keep doing this in a manner which is sustainable at a business level? Because that's the third pillar, that all of the numbers need to add up. Because we are designed as a for-profit business, which is willingly giving away 50% of our earnings, profits. But if you don't make a profit, there's nothing to give away.
True.
And we've tied ourselves or put ourselves in a corner because we are actually donating or calculating the charity amount at a COGS level. Now, how do you build a business model that does all three? It was easier when we were doing fewer categories.
Yeah.
As we are expanding categories, none of what we do is print on demand. So we've got inventory. We've got sell-through rates that we need to track. We've got to have all of this working. So I think that's a huge challenge, figuring all of this out. The other big challenge, I would say challenge, but I think is just production. Because most of what happens in the kind of categories we are in, that typical thing which vendors will tell you, 19-20 chalta hai. But because all of us come from a design background, we get obsessed with it. So like even the puzzles, we could have easily launched paper puzzle, which is what most kids use today, at a very affordable cost. We didn't. All of our puzzles were wood puzzles. Now, the reason we did this was because we wanted the highest quality and the image reproduction, etc., to be perfect. But all of these were being imported. And then we realized after getting into it that, hey, we can't import puzzles for various rules in a sustainable manner. So then we had to reboot and get all of our puzzles manufactured in India. Now, finding that person who does it on wood, who does it the right way at the right cost, huge exercise. So I think two goals for the coming year again would be that, one, figure out new categories to launch which can support all three pillars. Two, find vendors and bases where you can actually have all of this and they believe in quality and not just that I'll give you quantity, or the other way, that you're a big player, so I'll work with you. Low MOQs, I won't work with you. I think these two is top of mind.
Chitresh, what's coming in my mind is that often what brands do is brands start creating tiers within their product lines.
Yeah.
Like the highest tier will be the best quality.
Sure.
And then for a very mass population, they start creating something which may not be at the highest quality, but is still better than the usual. Do you have something in mind around that in terms of changing so that your product portfolio changes, you add some more tiers, you're able to grab more attention on the Amazons of the world? Are you trying to do that as well so that you are able to bring in and attract more population, getting aware about what you are creating, and also, increasing your top lines?
I'm glad you say that because that's one of the big learnings that we had this year. So we are creating tiers, but I don't think we're doing it in a manner where best quality is most expensive. Then I'll compromise on quality, etc. I think what we've done is we've recently launched a range of metal plates.
Okay.
So these are carbon steel plates. That's what we call it. Now we have ceramic plates and we have the carbon steel plates. In terms of quality, both are perfect according to me. I mean, obviously, I'm invested in, so I'll say they're perfect. But the carbon steel plates are powder coated, best quality of print, everything. But just the cost of producing it is much lesser than ceramic. So then these are the two tiers. So what we're doing is we are targeting people who are specifically looking to occupy a larger area in their homes with our plates. So you might be thinking that I want this wall above my couch to be full of plates. But if I go in and buy 30 ceramic plates, it will be too expensive. So we've actually launched this range, which costs much lesser to produce. So we're selling it much lesser. But we have not gone down the route which says that, hey, instead of the porcelain mugs, why don't you use a lower quality material? That so far we've not done.
So you're maintaining the quality.
We are trying to, but
association of quality with your brand.
But we're being very transparent about it. So we're telling you that I've changed the material. And because of that, I've got a cost advantage. So I'm going to offer something else to you. But I think people will see through it if you actually kind of tell them that, you know what, there is a direct correlation between quality and price on our website. So that we don't want to do currently.
Talk about your competition. Who is your competition in India and outside? I mean, if you expand outside, what kind of competition study do you have with you?
So I think, to be honest and humble about it, most of the brands that we see as competitors would not even think of us as competition just because of the scale difference. But within India, we have competition coming in from two fronts.
Okay.
For our core categories, which are like wall decor, the plates, etc., right? You would have art platforms which are doing prints. So we're looking at, nobody wakes up, again, like I said, right, thinking that I want art plates only in my house. You'll start off by saying, I want my house to look beautiful. I want great art, and I want art of this sort. Then you'll start exploring which brands do you want. So obviously there's a lot of brands today in India who are doing prints, who are doing canvases, etc. So that's one huge competition pool. What's happening there is there are, because of AI tools and because of various things, there are platforms where artists and designers are letting you download 1 lakh prints to that you can resell for as low as 5,000 rupees.
Wow.
Now it looks pretty, it's great, there's nothing wrong with it. But at the end of the day, that is mass produced art which everybody will have. Now we are on the other extreme where we're saying everything that we create is done by an illustrator, an independent artist, etc. So this competition is huge. The other places we are competing with a lot of home decor brands. So brands like Nicobar, which do beautiful art in every object. They tell great stories. But that's most of the people who buy from us would invariably also buy from a brand like Nicobar or Gooder. Gooder is much more expensive in price points, but the thinking remains the same. That I'm not just buying it because it looks pretty. I'm buying it because it has a story to tell. So we've got home decor brands we're competing with. And in each category, you've got specific competition. Like in bottles, we're obviously competing with the Miltons of this world. Because it's great quality, you're used to using that bottle. But then there's an audience that will prefer our bottles because of the story it tells, the art
but
it has.
But it won't be a Milton audience.
It may be at times, but it will be a subset of the Milton audience which says, I want to pay more. I want a very different product. But today I want to compare myself and say quality comes first. And I trust Cello, Milton, etc. for quality. But nobody's offered me anything different. So I think that's one audience that will pay more. But yes, in any category that we are in, we are a slightly more premium offering, but not dramatically premium.
So your customers are coming from cities or even towns or maybe tier 2 places in India? All over.
So, I mean, like I think any D2C brand, what would happen is you would have Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Chandigarh, Chennai. These would be in the top markets for you.
True.
But we have discovered that smaller towns, tier 2 towns, huge opportunity there, where the number of orders may be low, but our AOV is very, very high there. Like we've got customers in Kochi who we've tracked, who've placed multiple orders over the last year. And these are not B2B guys. This is for their home because in that town, they have found the most unique gift that they can give somebody that reflects their personality, their taste, etc. And they're buying again and again from us. So earlier, we used to actually restrict campaigns to focus on certain towns and certain markets. But today, we've realized that we are doing targeting across India with a very clear focus on the type of audience that we want. But none
is it like all like women who are purchasing it, or is it also the men who are focusing on the art?
Again, I mean, the hypothesis was that most of our audiences would be women. That's actually not true. It varies from category to category, but if you average it out at a brand level, about 45% of our buyers are men. 45%, and the remaining is women.
That's a huge number.
So it's equally split. Even the followers on Instagram that we have, it's an equal split. We have about 50 to 55% men, and the remaining are women. Age-wise, yes. Age-wise, we have a very clear focus that we are talking to people above the age of 25, and around 40, 45 is where the sweet spot is for us. Because most of these people have their own homes, or you've settled down in life, you're looking at, doing things in a certain way. But puzzles, for example, opens it up. Because puzzle starts off at a much younger age, and it actually extends into a much older age also. We've got people who love puzzles, and they are buying from us. I know I spoke to somebody recently who's 65.
You loves speak with puzzles. Your customers?
As many as we can.
You love doing that?
I mean, I would love to do it much more, but with the time that we have and what we do, most of the team members is given a goal that every week, even if you're a designer or an intern or you're the warehouse manager, everybody will talk to 5 customers at least. We'll pick up, and everybody will given a focus area.
It's one of the best part of the days when you're speaking with your customer who's using your product and telling 100%. All the stories about how he or she felt about it.
And I think it's just insights also, right? That at times it works the other way. Like I'll call you up as a customer and I'll be hoping that you bought something very artsy and you would have bought it for the reason we wanted to buy. But the reason may be actually totally different. You're still aware of it, but if I ask you that what was the reason you bought it, it might be totally different. And that again opens up
your mind, saying that, hey, this could also be a reason why people buy.
What it just does for us is it just changes areas of obsession. For a long time, it was about, no, this particular thing has to be perfect. But you realize people appreciate it, but they would appreciate it more if you actually did this. So I think that is a huge thing also.
And because we are a pricing company, this question has to come from me to you. How do you price your products? I mean, of course, I do understand the costs, you take into consideration all of that, but you are serving a value.
Yeah.
So how are you pricing your products?
So I think what you're doing is phenomenal, because pricing is the biggest pain area. When we started, and for the longest time in our journey, we were doing it with a very simple metric of, this is the COGS, this is the charity component, this is the artist component, and we had averaged out all our operational costs. We were saying, itna to aana chahiye from this product. And we were saying, now let's add a margin over that, which gives us buffer. Now that margin is very arbitrary. Like you'll call up people and they'll say, oh, XYZ brand operates at a 6x at least. Fashion overall operates at a 7 to 8x. Home and decor should be at a 3x. And you start following those rules. But then you realize that two things happen. Either you're underpricing yourself because of the value that you're bringing to the table, or you will get trapped in a pricing game when you get onto marketplaces. So we've had both situations. Today we've had some amount of science, which is, this is my fixed cost, I have to recover it. Here's the cost of acquisition, performance marketing, etc. And then based on the value of what that product is bringing in, we add a margin. So like the value of an embroidered postcard, when it is personalized, is going to be much, much, much more than me just clicking a photograph of Mumbai and printing it for you. So we do factor that in, but it is done at a level of trying to figure out what is a sweet spot. Now for us, it is, again, it's not a science so far, like your tools would do it, but it's trial and error. So we launch something, keep it for a week, and then say, okay, now increase or decrease. Keep it for another 2 weeks, and then decide. But the attempt, again, is that, can we bring more science to this? So that it factors in everything about the category, your competition, your customers, and the value add, of course.
Absolutely. Very, very important. How are you integrating technology
into what we do?
Into what you do. Technology in your design, technology in the way you are, reaching out to your consumers, your customers. What kind of technology are you integrating?
I think if my team watches this, they will all laugh about it, because I've become one of those, every corporate office has that old person who will bring in and grab onto new technology and keep talking about it. So I'm that guy now, talking to all the young 21-year-olds about AI and how we need to use it. And I think a lot of them are hesitant to do it because we are artists, right? So there's this debate in the art world about, hey, should AI be used at all or not in the category? But it's phenomenal. I mean, we were born digital. So we were on Shopify from day one. Now, the kind of plugins that Shopify has, and how it can really dramatically change things like conversion rate, etc., is phenomenal. Like a simple thing, you have a search bar. Every single person today on an online platform will have a search bar.
True.
But how much attention do you pay to it? The right tags won't be on your products. You will launch a product, you will put in SEO tags, hoping that it works for SEO, but you don't. Now think about it. You run an ad. I saw your ad. Subconsciously, I remember, wo ek kutta tha plate pe, and there was an old lady. But that's it. That's all I remember. Now I came to the website one fine day and I said, I want to buy that plate. How do I find it?
How will you find it? Yeah.
We still haven't got it perfectly put down, but those are small areas where we realize that if I add the right tags and make all products discoverable in a better manner, our conversion rates jumped by almost 25% just with that. So that's one. Two, we are experimenting a lot on how performance marketing can actually use deeper data. So the basic rules today everybody follows, that bounce rate, what's the flow of a person, etc. But we are trying to go deeper. We're actually saying that, okay, let us build a cohort of customers. Let's figure out what kind of customers have resonated, what kind of products in the past because of the storytelling. And tomorrow when we create a new collection, rather than just saying that 1% or that lookalike audience of 1%, can we actually create very specific lookalike segments and then target? That experiment is happening. In terms of, because we are an art-led platform, how do you figure out what design should you do next? So again, we're using data. So we're trying to actually look at our own platform and say which pages get the highest click-through rates because of a certain product, and then correlate that with bounce rates, and then figure out emotionally what are people being drawn to. So why is this product selling so much? Is it price? Is it something else? Can we change variables? And then, like a simple thing, most people today are buying a certain product where they see themselves in it. So you are seeing a mother with a daughter, and most people who buy it will actually come back and tell you that because I literally used to do that with my mom. Now, great, we're doing a lot more of that. Problem, when you're seeing very clear human face characters. I came in there because I wanted something relatable. I totally resonated with this artwork, but it looks so different from what my husband looks like. So the first request would be, can you change their face? Now, we can't do that. But what we can do now is we've launched a puzzle called Warmth of a Shoulder, where you'll see a couple where the lady's got the head on the shoulder of the person. They're sitting on the veranda of a house, and you can make out it is Goa. You can see a church in the distance. You see the old Portuguese architecture.
Telling you, you're inspired by Goa.
I should actually go back and live there. I would be the happiest. But you're not seeing the face of that person. So the relatability is there, but the alienation is not there because that person looks so different. Small things like this is what we're trying to use data for, or technology overall.
Very interesting. And AI is everywhere. I mean, when you're talking about content, because your products will sell on content.
100%.
Because your products have story behind it. And content has to be absolutely personalized. So how can technology be used for personalizing that content when somebody's coming and viewing it? How can it tell me a story that I'm looking for?
So a lot of the technology exists. For various reasons, we've not been able to experiment with it. But for the longest time, we were trying to create totally customized landing pages for people.
Wow.
Totally customized. So if you clicked on an ad which spoke about, do you want your homes to tell a story, or do you want your homes to just look pretty? If you said, I want to tell a story, obviously that's the cue. We wanted the entire landing page for that category and collection to be personalized about how objects have meaning. It's not just 1, 2, 3. We tried it, we had a demo ready, but then launching it at scale was a problem for us because of costing at that stage. But today the attempt is very clear that we will use AI. And we don't want to use it to replace our artists and writers and photographers. But if the writer today has been told very clearly, they build their own GPT. They've trained the algorithm to actually write things in their own tone of voice.
Wow.
So a writer is moving quicker, is able to generate output quicker. But when you read it, you will not have that typical reaction saying, "Padh ke lag raha hai that some tool has written it." They don't get the nuances right. But here we are. But we are moving towards that world where if I'm sending, rather than sending one WhatsApp broadcast today, we are trying to send 50 broadcasts to different segments, but have one overarching ethos and then have ChatGPT customize it in certain ways based on past purchases. So the attempt is to do this at scale. Today we're doing it, generating it in a tool, but then manually feeding it in and then doing it not fully automated. But the experiments are running to actually reach that point where we can automate all of this.
When do you want to take this international, Chitresh?
So we are, I mean, in a way, it happened by chance for us, but
Mhm.
we are international already.
Yeah.
So the UAE market, for example, generated about 8% of our sales last
And
year
it's directly
organically.
people coming from there
From
and
there onto our website and then
and
buying.
buying it.
We had the blessing to actually be at Art Basel, Hong Kong,
Mhm.
where Marriott Bonvoy had reached out to us.
Okay.
And we had co-created an entire exhibit for them. So there were a lot of people who discovered the brand there. There are a lot of people from the US and the UK who are ordering from us. But yes, we have not. So we had an attempt where we launched our dedicated international website that still exists, but we have not gone international in a manner where let me go out there in a targeted manner and acquire customers. Let's look at an offline presence or a pop-up so far.
Mm.
The idea is that we want to stabilize a lot of things over the next coming year and then look at doing that in a dedicated manner from 2026. But 25 and 26, we want to launch more categories, focus on India, go deeper there, and whoever's coming obviously convert. But the cost of acquisition in a market like UAE, for example, is super expensive.
True.
Till the time you have your distribution set, the margins in place, all of that, you can't just simply fool a customer by saying, you came to my international website, same product, I've jacked up prices by 40%, and you should be paying that. They will all be smart enough to actually figure out that this is just. So a lot of things need to change. We're working on that, but not currently in the near future.
Great, Chitresh. It was so nice to speak with you. If ending this podcast, if I would ask you, wrap up the Plated project as a organization in 3 words, what would those be?
3 words.
Yeah.
So it would be reinvention, it would be impact, and it would be storytelling. Storytelling is one word for me, but yeah, it would be these 3 words.
Wonderful. With that, it was Chitresh on the Road Ahead talk show with an amazing, impactful product and an organization that he's building with a cause. And I surely will be a customer of the Plated project. And I'm pretty sure you would be too. Thank you so much for watching me and Chitresh here on the Road Ahead talk show. Thanks, Chitresh.
Thanks for having me.